Hey everyone, it is Jay Soloff from Investors Alley, and this is our options trade of the week. So first off, I'm going to show you a very interesting trade and even how to put on a trade like this in a brokerage account. However, this is not a recommendation. It's not part of any of my services. This is for educational purposes only. So that being said, we are here at marketchameleon.com looking at the unusual options activity. And we have a new name at the top of the list, even at least a new one for me. I haven't seen this one at the top. It is Sundial Growers, which is a cannabis company. Cannabis has been the big mover, and it's been sort of the focus of the Reddit crowd lately. Just a lot of interest in, and particularly in these smaller cannabis companies. This is only a $2-3 stock, but it traded over 2.5 million options. So obviously, a ton of action today. The stock was up close to 4 and then ended up down 21%. And that's what happens when you get these small stocks and they get just a bunch of people in there buying stock and buying options and selling options. You can see most of the activity was on the call side, still mostly bullish type stuff in there. But what's interesting, a trade that I found interesting here, and again, this isn't a recommendation, it's just something I think is interesting here, is these Jan 2022 7 calls. So these appear to be sold tied to stock, so most certainly these are covered calls, and that's really interesting. What makes it interesting is you don't often see covered calls in these really volatile names just because it's easy for the stock either to blow through the strike or to drop down or something or the other, and particularly when you have a very low stock price. But I think this one actually makes a lot of sense in this here that you're selling it's January 2022. So first of all, this is long term in the sense of options, and it's interesting that the premium received here is really crazy. It's $1.12, $1.13. You have almost 10,000 of these things that traded, and with a stock at 289. So if you take this premium price and you take it out of the stock price, then you're talking about at most you can lose $1.50, basically, whatever, $1.75 on this thing if the company goes out of business, right? So that's like your risk. So there's really not much downside left once you get this. Plus, you're getting this huge premium. You still make money if this thing goes up to 7, which is still a huge. Is it going to be the next GameStop and go up several hundred? Probably not. That was kind of a rare circumstance. So if you think of this, it goes all the way up to 7. You make $4 on the stock, you make this extra money on the premium, and there's not a lot of downside risk. So this is an interesting trade to see this happen. I think that essentially there's really not a lot of risk involved because of the low price of the stock, and there's just not a lot of downside. And even if your upside is capped at 7, you could still make a lot of money. So just an interesting trade to see. You don't usually see this sort of thing happen in stocks like this. So looking that, you could see here, obviously, this thing's been down here below 1.5, and all of a sudden it touches 4 and closes at 238. So a lot of action. It's probably not going to continue. So getting in while the calls are really high premium is what this strategist was probably doing. So here you can see, a lot of activity today across this January 2022. Even looks like the 4 calls traded quite a bit, but here there was no open interest in this Jan 2022, but almost 60,000 of those options traded today. So it was obviously a lot of stuff going on across the board. In this case, again, these were sold, and it's already quite a bit lower. Now, once again, this isn't an actual recommendation, just showing you if you're interested in doing something like this, it's going to look like something like this, where it's a covered stock. For every 100 shares, you do one option, and the price is going to be the stock minus whatever you get in premium. So really interesting trade, particularly if you're into covered calls. Now, I don't do covered calls on my Option Floor Trader Pro service, which I think there should be a link on this page for, but we do call and put trades, and we're just looking for interesting directional trades. So if you're interested in that sort of trading, feel free to check it out.